The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas is this hour's top news story. An informant led officers of the Muerto County Sheriff's Department to a cemetery just outside the small rural Texas community of Newt early this morning. Officers there discovered what appeared to be a grisly work of art, the remains of a badly decomposed body wired to a large monument.
Welcome again to another great Q&A with some ultimate super legends. If you, listen, look, he's laughing here. Listen. All right, we've got William Vail, Alan Danziger, and we've got Ed Guein right here. We also have Perry Lorenz, who's going to be joining us, and your character follows, and unlike other horror films up to that point, with the exception of very few, you went through the throes of death. There wasn't a quick cutaway. And that's because Toby Hooper, I'm told, wanted to illustrate that death is not easy. All right? So, talk a bit about just shooting. What was your death scene? What, the kicking and the writing about it, etc. And I know as an actor, listen, you go through, you do what you do. But did you really, I guess ultimately, did you really think, now how am I going to convulse and die, and how am I going to give Toby what he wanted?
Absolutely.
There you go.
It was, for me, the most fun thing that I did in the movie, right? There's a quote, I think it was from Jimmy Cagney, if anybody knows who that is.
Yes.
No good actor dies quickly. So, taking that to heart, Toby and I talked about it, he had some ideas, and it was one of the few times in the whole film that he gave me direction. Other times I would ask him, I said, what do you want to do? Coming from a theater background, I said, what do you want to do in this scene? What's this scene really about? Toby just said, do it, But when it came down to the death, he had ideas and I had ideas, and we finally collaborated and came up with something that still works today, and it's something I'm still proud of. It's the best thing I did in the movie as far as I'm concerned. But it was dying. His idea was the rally. But first, I just came out, and Gunnar was supposed to come out and hit me on the back of the head, and I fell down. And I said, no, why doesn't he come around with the hammer, hit me, my body follows that action. And then that's when Toby said, and then when you're laying there, have your feet start writhing, kicking on the ramp that went up to there, And then he'll have to hit you again, which he did. And the first time he did it, he was so pumped that he hit, it was a rubber mallet, right? But he hit me so hard, he broke all the blood vessels in my left eye. And then reached down, grabbed me like I was a rag doll, and just flipped me into this room. The thing was, the room, you saw the door, there was like maybe a foot past the door. So I had to get very small very quickly to just disappear. And they slammed, I remember he slammed the door, and our producer, Ron Bozeman, came running back, and Toby came running back, and Ted Nicolau came running, are you okay, are you okay, are you okay? So I knew I had done something right. And they were very concerned about the whole deal. So I went outside and had a smoke. I was still a smoker then. And Gunnar and I sat there for a while they put things back together, and then we did it again. It was a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
But it really did illustrate that death is not easy. And it was a harrowing scene because of that, all right? Now next up, this gentleman, Alan Danziger here, all right? Give him a hand, folks. All right. He told me a great story I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to let him elaborate. That scene where he walks into Leatherface's lair and Leatherface jumps out. There's a scream, and you said the scream was not acting. That really scared the shit out of you.
You are correct.
I am correct.
First of all, how's everybody doing? Are we having a good time?
Yeah.
Quite a crowd, quite a crowd. Well, what Parrish is saying is that for that scene where I get killed, I actually had them blindfold me on the porch before I go into the house. And so I really worked myself up into a lather, or tizzy, or whatever you call it. And so I had not seen Leatherface or Gunnar in his mask and his outfit at all. That was the first time that I see him, is when I get killed. And so I saw somewhere where somebody had rated my scream as number 16 on the all-time best scream. And it was a blood-curdling scream, and I thought I did great until Toby yelled cut and came over and he said, "Alan, that's a great scream, but you gotta wait for him to get into the frame." You know, with the hammer. So we had to do it a few times, and as a result, they had a couple of guys pull down my belt behind with my belt loops and pulled me down, so I didn't take a blow that you normally would take with that hammer. You know, and that's almost 50 years ago. I'm still getting headaches, so it wasn't an easy deal. But the truth of it is that I wasn't an actor, and if you see the movie, you know that that's true. But the reason I got into the movie is because of the first one that I did, which was Toby's Eggshells. And I met a couple that this movie was supposed to be about. There was a young hippie kind of couple, and it was kind of like a psychedelic type of movie called Eggshells.
And it has been inducted into the
Bobblehead Hall of Fame in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thank you very much.
And do you have those at your table?
I have everything at my table.
There you go.
I have my beef jerky. Tagline, "We were the..."
All right, Mr. Perry Lorenz, it's a pleasure to have you on the stage, man. I've never had the good fortune to meet you until now, and it is absolutely an honor. All right. You were the rescuer of the heroine, my good friend, the late Marilyn Burns in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. How did you come about that role on screen?
Well, I knew Jim Hinkle very well. We were friends in college. In fact, we called him Toes. I don't remember why, but I know him as Toes. And I was kind of a gearhead. I had a shop. I worked on cars and motorcycles, and they were worried about those chainsaws. And so I kept those chainsaws running. I took clutches apart so they wouldn't actually spin the blade and kill anybody. And it got towards the end, and He said, well, we need somebody to drive this truck and save the girl, Marilyn, who I went to high school with and knew quite well, beautiful girl. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And if you look at the credits, it says I'm a stunt driver. Well, hell, we did that 15 times before we got what we used, and it looked like I made a U-turn. And to be called a stunt driver for making a U-turn was kind of silly, but
hey, it's a credit, man.
I'll take it. But I had more to do behind the scenes than really in the movie at all. I just knew most of the players and worried about the saws and the mechanics of it all.
So you were the chainsaw maintenance guy.
That's right, man. What a role.
Well, what else did you do? I mean, anything else you want to share?
Oh, where that saw cuts into that meat in his leg there.
Oh, yeah.
I had a part in that. That was a piece of plate metal and a winged steak from Randall's under his pants.
Yeah.
So,
I always wondered, and years ago, in speaking with the late Gunnar Hansen, I asked him, why did they risk his leg with the plate and the meat? And I mean, it was a tight shot. It could have been a prosthetic leg somewhere else. And I won't tell you what he said, but anyway, I don't think Tom thumbed it. Maybe he was eating those brownies. I don't know. But and down here we have Mr. Ed Guein. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Guein, the driver of the 18-wheeler, the Black Maria. All right, he's the guy that Leatherface tried to saw. And Ed jumped out the other side, and they did a bit of a run. He, along with Marilyn, ran like hell. Ed, how did you happen upon that role, and what was it like that day? Or days, plural?
For me, it was just a day.
It was a day, okay.
Yeah, just a day, but the role came because Bob Burns was an old friend of mine. And Austin is a small town, or at least in those days, and so anybody kind of in the arts knew anybody else who was in the arts. And so Bob and I worked on the Ranger, Texas humor magazine at UT, and kind of knew each other from that. And I moved to California in '68 and playing music and hanging out, and then decided to get in the trucking business. I don't exactly remember what inspired me to do it, but me and my brother-in-law bought a truck. And eventually, rock and roll being what it is, I had the opportunity to move back home. Fortunately, I had a little business to bring with me. And so I'm back in Austin, and it just coincided with them needing a truck. And Bob called me up and asked me if I, had a day to spare. Sure. And I went and picked up the trailer, because I didn't haul cattle. And they rented a trailer somewhere, I forget, some truck stop. Drove out there, picked it up, went to the set, and started the day at about 7:30 in the morning or 8 o'clock. And ran my ass off, if I remember, all day until the sun set. I'm open to questions. Is probably a good way to get details from me anyway, if you guys have any. I got good ears.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to take questions in a moment, but we have joining us now Mr. Wayne Bell. All right? He brought you the audio. You sure can. Before we get to Wayne, Terry has another comment.
Just a brief anecdote. I got paid $50 a day. I think I was on the set for maybe 4 days. And we signed away our rights to the Screen Actors Guild. They now own that footage. And I thought nothing would ever come of it. I made my $200 and it was over. And then American Psycho got made, and that guy's doing sit-ups in front of the TV all sweating, and the scene that I did was playing in the background. And they sent me a check for $1,800. And then a few years later, there's a Bruce Willis movie, and somebody told me the name of it, I forgot, where he tells his kid to quit watching the TV and do his effing homework. Slams the door, walks out there, and the kid turns the TV back on, and that scene's playing. And they'll be never $1,800. And now there's another movie being made today, and I don't know the name of it, but they're going to give me another $1,800. So
Yes. And we have here Wayne Bell, as I said, audio guys. You can thank him for the loud roar and the loud screams and all the great audio that was captured.
I don't have any voice yet, I can't do that. I'm so glad that y'all are here, but I'm really just glad to see my compadres from making this film that are still vertical, right. I've had so many people, bring me pictures of Gunner, who's a good friend of mine, and it's real. We're only here so long. I'm sure it's great that we're all only here so long. It's sad to lose him. Gunner was a good friend, and a really great guy. And pretty much everybody that I got to know with Chainsaw are great folks. And there's a lot of squabbling after, as you might imagine, because of the mafia getting most of the money. But I've managed to stay friends, even with Ed, with all of them. And really, filmmaking, you don't think of it will draw together a community, because generally people come together, shoot a film, they all go their separate ways. But I made a lot of friends at Chainsaw, and those that are still vertical, even Alan. You can stand up, right? I've only seen you sitting. So. All right, it's a pleasure to hook up with all. So I appreciate Roy putting this together, and we can all kind of get together, and thank you all for even being interested in our movie. After all these years.
If I have any more fun today, I don't think I'm going to be able to take it.